Alright, let's continue our series on Stoicism, talking about Stoicism, and I thought we would do a slightly different background today because I actually happen to have neighbours who were right on top of my recording studio and they were incredibly loud talking, so I thought we would do it here. We are going over the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and we have ended up in Book 5, and I think the first passage, the section in Book 5 is very interesting. At the break of day, when you are reluctant to get up, have this thought ready to mind. I'm getting up for a man's work. Do I still then resent it if I'm going out to do what I was born to do, for the purpose for which I was brought into the world? Or was I created to wrap myself in blankets and keep warm? But this is more pleasant. Were you then born for pleasure, all for feeling, not for action? Can you not see plants, birds, ants, spiders, bees, all doing their own work, each helping in their own way to order the world? And then you do not want to do the work of a human being. You do not hurry to the demands of your own nature. But one needs rest too. One does indeed, I agree, but nature has set limits to this too, just as it has to eating and drinking, and yet you go beyond these limits, beyond what you need. Not in your actions though, not any longer. Here you stay below your capability. The point is that you do not love yourself, otherwise you would love both your own nature and her purpose for you. Other men love their own pursuit and absorb themselves in its performance to the exclusion of bath and food, but you have less regard for your own nature than the smith has for his metalwork, the dancer for his dancing, the money grubber for his money, the exhibitionist for his little moment of fame. Yet these people, when impassioned, give up food and sleep for the promotion of their pursuits. And you think social action less important, less worthy of effort? A very interesting section, and I think what makes this section so interesting is that we all know this feeling. I don't want to get out of bed, I don't want to do this, and of course that can be a somewhat metaphorical thing as well. I'm not necessarily really not physically getting out of bed, but just I can't do this, I don't want to do this right now. Why should I do this? Why should I work? Why should I, etc. And I think that it's actually a very interesting way to look at things, to say yes, but this is your place in the universe, this is what you do. And it doesn't matter, you don't have to have a job that allows you to change the world or allows you to bring world peace, because I think the vast majority of us do not have those kinds of jobs. But no matter what job you have, you can do it with passion. And you see that everywhere in the world. You see people having all sorts of jobs and they do their jobs with passion, and other people do their jobs and they hate it. Well, the question is, if you hate it, why are you doing that job? Is it absolutely impossible for you to do something that you actually enjoy? And even if it is something that you hate, but there is no option to change it because you need that job, there's nothing else you can do. Then wouldn't it make sense to at least try to do what you are doing with passion? Because right now that is what you are doing in the universe, what you are contributing to the universe. And that makes, no matter what it is you do, noble. You contribute to the universe. And if you decide to not do that thing, whatever it is that you do, then you're not living in accordance with nature, as the Stoics would say, because then you are going against nature, then you are not doing what you should be doing, you are not doing what the universe would like you to do, you're going against it. If that is your job, then that at that point in time is your place in nature, and it may change at some point, but it may also not. So again, whatever you do, you can do with passion. Just like a spider weaves a web and catches bugs with passion. And just like mosquitoes fly around and bite us and suck up our blood, but they do that with passion. They don't have much of a choice, do they? I mean, that is what they do. I don't think a mosquito would sit down and watch this video and think, oh, there's so much to Stoicism. Obviously, that's not how a mosquito works. It's much too simple an organism. But it does what it is supposed to do with passion, because that's how it stays alive. So we can do that too. And I think we can even extend this. It's not just our work. Everything you do, you can do with passion. I sometimes have this discussion with colleagues or with students. There are certain things that you have to do, and you know the thing is, everything can be interesting. Right now I'm teaching 2 courses on statistics to social science students, psychology students, and they typically don't like those types of courses because they want to learn about psychology, and for many of them psychology and such is something that comes more natural than the actual maths and the stats. But it is something that you have to learn. If you want to be a psychologist, you need to have a good understanding of statistics, because that is what we use in our research. And then what I always tell people if they come to my office or something and they're lamenting that this is so difficult and that it's so hard and that it's boring and etc. No, it's not. Nothing is boring. Everything is interesting. Everything is absolutely fascinating, but you have to make it so. Statistics are absolutely fascinating because they can show you certain things that are very difficult to show in any other way. And that makes them interesting and fascinating. But you have to sit down and make those things that fascinating. Because if you don't, then they simply will not be fascinating and they will not be interesting. Again, to me that boils down to anything you do, anything you say, you can do with passion. And that doesn't, I don't mean that in a negative way, because of course the Stoics also say, yeah, you have to be a little bit careful with passion. I'm not talking about the negative passions. Hatred is a passion, where you could do your job with a lot of passion because you hate it. But that's not really what I'm talking about. Make it interesting to yourself, and then do it with passion. Tomorrow you may be gone. We've talked about this many times now. At any point in time, something can happen. You may not be able to do your job again tomorrow. Well, wouldn't it be better then to do it properly and passionately right now? Small things. But all of these things can bring you freedom of frustrations, I think. Don't think, I have to get up, it is dreadful, I need to get to work. No, think, no, I get another day. I get another day to work and contribute to the world. In whatever way, because anything you can do in the world contributes to something somehow. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing that, right? And then it's not so bad to get up, because you're serving your purpose in the universe. And that's all. And that's a noble purpose. So maybe that's something to bear in mind the next time you have trouble getting up, or you are wondering why you are doing something at work. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.